Let us continue from what we have learned just now from the previous recording. So now let's take a look at another example over here. Over here, right, there are two experiments that I carry out. Okay, the first experiment, the gray line, which represent 1% carbon dioxide, 10 degrees Celsius, and the second line is represented by the orange. The second experiment, the orange line, which the condition is actually 1% carbon dioxide and 20 degrees Celsius. So the difference between the first experiment and the second experiment is due to the temperature. So my question is, what do you think is a limiting factor here and why? So what is a limiting factor here? Is it light? Is it carbon dioxide? Or is it temperature? Remember, a limiting factor, meaning that if I change that factor, I will actually increase or decrease or change the rate of photosynthesis. So what do you think? Is it carbon dioxide, temperature, or light? As I compare from the first experiment and the second experiment. All right, some of you might get it. It's actually temperature, because you can see that as I increase from 10 degrees Celsius to 20 from the orange line, the second experiment, the rate of photosynthesis actually increased a lot. Okay, from like 10 degrees Celsius, right, it's only maximum 20 bubbles. But when I increase my temperature to 20 degrees Celsius, the number of bubbles actually increased to 60 bubbles produced per minute. So the limiting factor here is temperature. Now, another example over here. So gray and orange line again. The gray line is 15 degrees Celsius. The orange line is actually 25 degrees Celsius. The carbon dioxide is the same concentration, 0.03%. So again, so do you think is temperature a limiting factor here? Is temperature important? Does temperature increase my rate of photosynthesis to a great extent? If I increase my temperature from 15 to 25, does it cause a great change in the rate of photosynthesis? Does it cause a great change? Do you think? Right? No, because as I increase from 15 to 25, there's a change in temperature, but it doesn't cause a great increase in the rate of photosynthesis. It is still like about the same. So in this case, temperature is not a limiting factor, because as I increase a bit, right, to 25, it doesn't actually increase my rate of photosynthesis. So to emphasize, right, due to the low carbon dioxide concentration, in this case 0.03, no matter what I do, as I increase from 15 to 25, right, um, it will not help me to further increase my rate of photosynthesis. Okay, just a point to take note. Now, back to the factory model. So as I increase my temperature over here, the factory, for example, okay, to 25 degrees Celsius, but because of the low carbon, the carbon dioxide concentration, the wood, I will not be able to produce more chairs and tables. Right. So really dependent on the type of graph that you're given, you need to analyze the graph carefully, whether which one is a limiting factor. Now, I'll continue to give you more examples over here. So now, this is another experiment that we're looking at. Okay, purple color, the purple line, the purple experiment, I mean the purple line represent the first experiment, which is carried out at 100 light intensity, 100 lux. And the red line is represented by 250 lux. Okay, the carbon dioxide is the same, 1%, 1%. Okay, so what do you think is a limiting factor here and why? Okay, I want you to think about it before I move on to the next video. Okay, I want you to think about it. So what do you think is a limiting factor here? Is it temperature? Is it light? So what do y'all think? Okay, I want to all think about it. I will review the answer in the next recording.